Hi, welcome to Truth Talks. Today is November 25th, 2023. 1 year ago today, early in the morning, my wounded warrior, my Sarge, my husband, was airlifted out of his body to be with God. It's been a cry day, and tears always surprise me. And I figured after so many videos about him over the years, we would just do a little fill-in about me and why he was so special to me. To start it off, do not ask. One of my things is I don't always remember time. I'd have to really sit and think about it and write things down and look at dates. Numbers are not my thing. I don't care what people typically think about autistics. This one, I'm a female autistic. Numbers are not my thing. Also, just got my nails done today because that was one of Mark's things. And I don't know why, it just was a thing for him, for me, always to get my nails done. I think it made me happy. I don't know, it was just a thing. My true Sarge loved to spoil me. He was just amazing like that. Even when things were rough, just sending him pictures of my nails, even when he couldn't go with me. So on the way home, I did that today. And I hadn't done it for a while. My nail gal was in Vietnam. Anyway, that was a Mark thing for me. So, number one, I'm autistic. Was not diagnosed till I was married to him. And our now 19-year-old was 11, 12, 13, something like that. So I was in my early 50s. And when he was diagnosed, then so was I. So it explains everything. And part of the reason why Mark was so special to me, one, completely unexplainable. It was what I am now learning about frequency and all that, totally was that. But my first husband, and I had 2 daughters and a miscarriage. A boy he worshiped not Creator God, not the Father of Jesus, not the Trinity, Father, Son, and the Holy Ghost, not that one, the bad one, the dark one, the evil one. And I always knew things were really crazy. I had just barely 18. Knew the man 13 weeks, and the church group that we belonged to was very patriarchal. And I was 17 years old and in school, in college, and I graduated younger, and I was crying because I'm thinking my 18th birthday is coming up and I am an old maid. Yeah, that's the kind of group we were raised in. Very, very, very ultra conservative and patriarchal. Anyway, so I met him. He was from the same church denomination, and 13 weeks, didn't even know the guy, really. I mean, thought he was a Christian. Okay, ta-da, there you go, got married. So I wasn't an old maid. Anyway, part of being autistic is you are a rule follower, and I so was, and I had the fear of God put into me. So anyway, that was that. And terrified. Most of that, we were married almost 20 years, just a few weeks shy of 20 years, when our divorce was final. And it was a terrifying 20 years. Terrifying. And I did not really know what he was about until the seventh year, somewhere to the seventh year, when it got so bad I wanted to leave him, and then all hell broke loose. So that was a horrific thing. Did divorce him, and in 2012 it cost me the life of my oldest daughter, who was 25 at the time. That was a whole other videos. My second marriage was totally by default, and I was a super naive person. Yeah. And amongst those years, growing up years and whatever, I survived a lot of abuse, which was also very rife in a patriarchal, religious church/cult. You fill in the blanks. Okay, that was first husband. So then my second husband, kind of by default, and I had, anyway, that turned out to be I found out for sure that he was a polygamist when I'm in the hospital and having our first child. So I stuck that one out for a total of about 9 years. Of course, our marriage wasn't legal, but I tried to convince myself to do it, whatever. This wasn't fun. Was not fun. I was his second wife in America, and he had one in another country, plus he dabbled on the side. It was great. And so anyway, and with him I had 2 sons and lost our third. And I lost, his name was Noah Adam. And then 8 months later, my daughter was murdered, and that was in 2012. Some dates I know now. And she was killed and murdered in 2012. February of 2012. And I met Mark. And now, we try to debate when we met, but our first date was in November of 2012, and it was fast and furious. I was very, very angry with God, and in 2010 I had become an ordained minister, but some things were going on, and while taking classes and whatever, and weirdly enough, one of the best places to practice your ministry and psychology. So I was a minister with psychology. What do they call it? Specialty or whatever. And so at the time, I had been, some stuff was going on with my soon-to-be ex. Well, at the time, in 2012, he was an ex. So I left and knew some friends, and anyway, I was a lead bartender at an upscale restaurant, and that's where I met Mark, my wounded warrior, and it was like amazing. So here was this He was a biker. My dad was a biker. He was fair-skinned and freckled like my dad. My dad was German. He was first generation, born in America, so he was first generation American, German American. And Mark just reminded me so much of my dad in just cool ways. And just, it was this connection that I just can't even explain. It was electric, literally like lightning. And some of the special abilities that I've been able to have would be, I don't know, like just know things. But I don't know. It was like I had known Mark my whole life. And I could feel him before he walked into a room. And somehow I just could know, I don't know, I could sense him. It was amazingly cool because I'd only experienced that with my children. Never anybody else. And, yeah. You know, and there have been plenty of videos made about the chaos and the crazy, my wounded warrior. But the big thing was I wasn't talking to God. Like, I was not talking to God. And that had been my whole life. Everything about my life had centered around God. And when my daughter was murdered, you know, I was the kid that ran away. You know, I might come home and sit in the room with God. I wouldn't speak to him. I didn't trust him. So the thing that kept me sane through most of all of my life up until that point, I was no longer in connection with. And yeah. So I know that God is the center of everything. Mark, of course, was the son of a preacher man. That was our song. Son of a Preacher Man by Dusty somebody, Miller or somebody. Anyway, and when chaos happened, when his woundedness just was so prolific, I didn't do well. I didn't. I started drinking like he did, and that did not go well. And it's okay. A lot of chaos ensued, and it wasn't until 2017, 2018 that I'm like, you know what? All right, God, I'm willing. And God used a really cool thing to bring me back into the nursing, back into the ministry, to reconnect with him through natural health, using one of his daughters-in-law introduced us back to essential oils because Mark had cancer, and from then on there's lots of videos about that. All the amazing beauty of Mark I desperately miss. You know, he came in the latter days of his life to, we said this before, make God the CIC. Really, that really wasn't for sure until he was on hospice, which was for, says what, 6 months, 37 weeks to the day, from the day he signed up. So we've all heard about my Sarge, and like, I wish I had been stronger, but I love that man more than I wanted to admit for a long time. But I am very grateful to have got to love him, and I'm grateful for all the lessons that we learned together. And I'm going to miss him for the rest of my life. So, there we go. We'll talk later.